Betty. Seems like you're carrying a little of that baby weight.
I know. I should really use a reduction plasmid, but I'm terrified of needles.
The gameplay of Bioshock is very much based on exploration and scavenging. Rapture is a very dark, damp, and decrepit place. My three least favorite adjectives. The place is completely in ruin and there's busted pipes everywhere. You have no idea what happened there, but you just have to, I guess, stick it through and see if you can live. It's not a grateful existence, but you might as well be doing it besides getting beaten. You're going to need to do a lot of scavenging if you want to survive in Rapture. There's not really anything there that's readily available. The things you're mostly going to be scavenging for are medkits, hype evos, and ammo. You have to look in every nook and cranny possible to get the smallest of supplies. You gotta look in desks, drawers, under tables, on top of nightstands, in sewage pipes. But when you're not scavenging, you're mainly going to be fighting the native inhabitants. You need ammo for your mostly just conventional weapons, such as your revolver, your machine gun, and your shotgun. You also have a pipe wrench you find at the beginning of the game, which doesn't take any ammo. And you're going to be needing a lot of these to defend off against the splicers. They're people who remained from what happened in Rapture, and if you don't have anything, you're basically not going to survive. And you're going to need hype evils for these things called plasmids. Plasmids are basically the superpowers you get at the beginning of the game that you need to use to go around Rapture. Not only are they used for combat, but they're also useful in just day-to-day scenarios. Plasmids can give you powers such as telekinesis, pyrokinesis, and the ability to shoot lightning from your hands. You use telekinesis to throw in the stupid industrial splicer's face, and you also use pyrokinesis to melt ice in front of a specific dental office. You can also use telekinesis to play tennis as well. Those are just the things that you need to survive. But what do you do in Rapture specifically, besides living? Well, you're mostly going to be following objectives from this guy named Atlas. You don't really know where he's from, but he says that he knows mostly what happens in Rapture. A little suspiciously, but you decide to follow him anyways. He can't fully be trusted, but he seems to have a good heart, and he's guiding you through Rapture for most of the game. You follow his objectives, and you see where he leads you to. Atlas is basically like some guide you follow throughout the game. But those are mostly just the stuff you do on a normal day-to-day. What's it like when you get engaged in combat?
A Rapture reminder. The waters surrounding Fontaine's department store have been seeded with an extensive number of magnetic mines. They are very sensitive.
Bioshock is a first-person shooter after all, so let's take a look at the weapons at your disposal. Your weapons are plasmids, which are the superpowers I listed before, pyrokinesis and such. Your conventional weapons are your stuff, as I said before, the wrench, revolver, shotgun, machine gun, and grenade launcher. Well, that's what you're going to have at this point of the game. When you're in combat, you're going to be fighting splicers and big daddies. Those are the two common enemies that you're going to be fighting. You also might encounter one of Andrew Ryan's drones as well flying around. He has turrets placed all over the place and security cameras that have surveillance on you. When you're in combat, you're going to be using your plasmids in conjunction with your conventional weapons, such as electricity and using the wrench. It's the most effective method in the game. Big Daddies are these large, hulking machines that look like they were once human at one point. They occupy Rapture and protect their little sisters. I'll explain more in the story section. Big Daddies are some formidable foes, and you're going to need a lot to kill them. They can eat as many bullets as you give them as well. They're not exactly friendly, but they are in fact passive. You only really protect their little sisters, which they're there to harvest Adam. Depending on the specific Big Daddy, they can have different weapons. The Bouncer Big Daddy is a big drill they use, while the other Big Daddy, who's called Rosie, has a giant rivet gun that shoots at you. Picking a fight with these guys is a death wish either way, so you're gonna have to be real careful and play your cards smart. By keeping at a distance and using explosives is one of the most effective methods to get rid of the Big Daddy. Although it's better just to avoid the confrontation in the first place. That's all for combat, so let's move on to the main story.
Being the best at what you do can really take it out of you. So unwind at Fort Frolic.
Okay, here's a basic synopsis of the story so far. So in Bioshock, you're this unnamed man. I don't know if you actually hear his name in this part of the game, but I'm pretty sure he's just unnamed. And you're in a plane, and I think you're going to visit your family, right? And then the plane gets struck by lightning or just crashes, and you end up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So then you just keep searching around in the plane wreck, and you find a lighthouse. And in that lighthouse is Rapture, the city under the sea. Atlas, as I already said before, he's the same guy who helped you through, but he'll have some more significance later on. You soon learn about this guy named Andrew Ryan, who supposedly built the city. He's a he's a bit of a nutjob. Basically, he's just some guy who I'm pretty sure, don't get me wrong, I think he grew up in the USSR, and he was tired of constantly getting his family's wealth distributed to poor people, because, he doesn't actually want wealth equality. He just wants everyone else to suffer while he gets gain. So he just kind of makes the city, just figures it out somehow. He just does it in like 20 years. He makes a city under the ocean to sustain all of like the water pressures and everything, just because he didn't like government systems. Because from there, I'm pretty sure, went from the USSR to the US. And I don't know if this is actually true, but I'm pretty sure there's a story where the US wanted like to use his land for a national forest. So instead of giving it to them, he just burned it. Yeah, so Andrew Ryan isn't exactly the most mentally well of people. And he just kind of builds a city based on the fact that everyone gets their. Actually, the opposite. Nobody gets to share. Everything is controlled by their own creation. So, for example, if someone makes something, basically no one else can have it, and it's only theirs. And there's no government like allocations, there's no public health care or anything. It's just specifically if you own this thing, then that's it. Like you own it, no one else can have it. And it labels everyone who does get anything allocated to them as parasites or slaves. So then you keep going around and you find this guy, this surgeon named Dr. Steinman, if I'm correct, right? And he's basically this surgeon who's completely obsessed with perfection and mangles people in multiple ways and attaches their faces to each other. Then you meet this guy. Well, you don't meet him, but you learn about him named Fontaine. And he's the guy behind plasmids, superpowers you get. Well, the story is they're from sea slugs, I'm pretty sure. So these sea slugs were injected into the Little Sisters to produce Adam, and the Little Sisters harvest Adam from the dead corpses of the people who pile up on Rapture. Because if you couldn't tell already, Rapture is not a very nice place, whether it was a city or not. And then kind of just fell into ruin. Like everything just kind of died. Because then like they couldn't stop producing Adam. Well, yeah, they couldn't stop producing it, but people couldn't stop taking it. So everyone got addicted, and it kind of threw the city into ruin. And all the people you meet are residents who became addicted to a drug. So it's a pretty far out concept though.